Okay, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So this is the second episode of my To The Mun series. So we're going to go and spend some of that tasty science points that we earned in the last orbital mission. So I've got 50 points. So that'll give us a couple of nodes. Realistically, we can get by with just those two nodes. That's got the stack separators, the 99s and the landers. We also want the radial decouplers so we can do rockets hang off the side because they're always cool. So with those three science nodes, we can actually build a rocket quite easily capable of going to the moon. So let's give it a name. What Moon 1? Alright. So the main lander rocket will be pretty straightforward. Legs on it. There we go. Oh, can't get a parachute. Always useful to come home with. Actually, we'll just leave that together. Actually, it's safer to always put a separator on your main shuttle. That way, you know it's going to come back in one piece. You can always pop it off as you're coming in through the atmosphere. And another stack separator. And a bit of propulsion. So the main way that you design rockets in KSP is to have a lander stage, which is our top section on this rocket, a transfer stage, which gets you from Kerbin's orbit to your target planet, and an orbital stage. So in this rocket, it's pretty simple. It's actually going to be a 4-stage rocket, I think, because we've got to have some solid boosters as well. But it follows pretty much the same principles. Okay, so let's... Now, rather than doing this I don't have any fuel tubes, so I can't do asparagus staging. So normally I'd do asparagus staging whereby you have your rockets in pairs of 2, and you do 3 pairs of 2 around your rocket, and you dispose of the rockets as they empty. But the trick is that the first pair of rockets that you dispose of is feeding fuel to the next pair of rockets around, and then around again, and then into the central core. So that as you dispose of each empty rockets, all the other rockets have got full fuel tanks. So you're basically getting the most efficient use out of your fuel tank and not wasting thrust on hauling around empty fuel tanks. So I think I'll do 3 of these. So it's sometimes tricky to get the edge right, and you just have to sometimes step back from sort of where you're really focusing on and try and connect up to a different location, and you'll find that you have a bit more success in hooking up the rockets that you want to hook up. What I'm going to do is then have some solid boosters hanging off the sides. And make sure that I'm aligned correctly. Yeah, okay, so that's looking pretty good. We need some I don't actually have any ladders this guy to be able to get back to his capsule, which is a bit of a shame. But that can't be helped. So we can get around on the moon just using jetpacks, so we don't actually need to have ladder landers. Alright, so let's do our staging. So parachute last, decoupling, boosting and separating should probably happen at the same time. That will be the central rocket down the bottom, and that should fire once we eject those rockets. Now, let's have all of our outer ones and the solid boosters firing at the same time. Yep. Okay, that looks pretty good. Where's that one from? Okay, yep, that's good. So basically what will happen is the staging will fire off all of the solid boosters and all of this 6 core rockets. Then we'll dispose of all of them, hopefully by the time we've hit all of it. And we'll fire up the central core, which will be a transfer stage. And then once we've got to the moon, at some stage we'll dump the transfer stage and just use the lander rocket to get down and back up. So off we go, I think. I don't need to set anything else up. I can't really take much more with me. Oh, precious science. Yeah, let's take a goo container. That'll hang off nicely there. A little bit unbalanced because that's always challenging. No, I don't think we have any stability options. We don't need any more of that stuff. We can put some limits on there if we like. Always helps with stability of larger rockets. Get a bit more stability for the ascent. So you basically want to point your winglets directly at the core of your rocket. Alright, save that. Let's get a launch. Okay, so the ascent profile is going to be very similar to what we did the first time. Vertical ascent to 7,000 feet, and then 7,000 meters, sorry, and then due east. So, SAS on always, and off. Our rocket's spinning a bit, but I'm just going to let it spin because I'm not that worried about trying to control it. It should settle down on its own forward. Just to do with the flexibility of the rocket because I don't have any struts to hold it all together. But we're getting a pretty good vertical, so let's just slow down that spin rate maybe if we can. It'll come down as soon as we dump in the solids. Okay. And we're starting off with our bank. Banking towards 90 degrees. Pretty rapidly actually. Let's back off. And thrust just for a bit. Okay. Let's change map view. Okay, so I'm just going to skip over the boring stuff that we've seen before, just setting orbits and things like that. Okay, we're locked onto the node marker now. You can see the program marker coming around to meet us because we're meeting that point of our orbit. It's 18, 17 and boost. So we might have to dump the stage.
That is the Gilbert.
So the nice thing about using the maneuver nodes is that in this case here, because I was burning 6 rockets to begin with and dumping them halfway through, the calculations the KSP does for you in your estimated burn time is going to be off. So really I should have started my burn a bit earlier, but the maneuver node will take that into account, so it's actually correcting for me. We'll switch out to the main view again and just check as our orbit comes into the correct alignment. The white line in the background is the moon's orbit. There it is there behind us. You can see that we're pretty much dead on with it. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so save game. Orbit's stable, so off we go. Now, the rule of thumb for getting to the moon is to wait till it comes above the horizon. So on this orbit, that would be about here. Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. So basically you just want to burn prograde until the orbit pops out. So you can see that this is burning more and more prograde. Is getting elliptical, and the apoapsis is moving out towards the orbit of the moon. Now, if we time this right, so we've got actually a pretty good intercept. Let's start this down. You can actually fine tune this and how much fuel that you have to use by just tweaking it around. So that's probably about as close as we're going to get. So actually I want to get a little bit closer than that, but that's the right vector to be looking at. So you can actually zoom out and have a look. So this should take us behind the moon's orbit. So you can see that on your maneuver planner, when you get an encounter node and you mouse over it, you'll see the position of the moon when you're at that encounter point appear on its orbit. Periapsis node is where the moon will be at this little purple position, and we look at the exit escape node, you'll see again you get a purple shadow appearing when you mouse over it. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. 50,000, 500,000 meters is pretty good for an intercept. So I reckon that's going to be my target burn.
Okay, blah blah blah. Just going to whiz through this bit, just talking about fuel consumption and boring stuff like hitting your maneuver node correctly and having to adjust.
Okay, back down to real time now. Just make sure we're pointing directly on that node. And burn high. So you can see the orbit outwards, and perhaps this side.
Burning, 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 burning.
Okay, so I've actually burnt a little bit too far. So this is kind of cool, so we can do a tiny bit of a course correction. So burnt too far prograde, so we're going to miss that encounter window. So what I need to do to correct is go back retrograde, so I'm flipping the rocket over. And just going to give it a tiny, tiny squirt of the engine. That should bring us back into a proper encounter with the moon. There we go. Alright. Alright, I think I'm pretty happy with that intercept, so I'm going to quick save. And let's walk there, so we've got to walk 4 hours. So as you get further and further away from orbit, you can increase the speed at which you walk. But be careful because it's really easy to flick past an encounter. Basically, I always walk until I hit an encounter, and then I slow back down just to check that everything's good, because physics engine kind of recalculates on you like it did just then. Okay, so what's going to happen is that I'm travelling too slowly. So what we might do as a course correction is just try and boost up a little bit and see if we can get a bit closer. So what's happening there is it's put it on the wrong track. Put it on my orbital track. Let's go on this track. There we go. That's more like it. So at this rate, I'm actually going to hit the moon. So I'll just come back a tiny bit. Okay. So often with these sorts of corrections, you just kind of got to play around with how you're running. 33 is fine. I'm still on a relatively flat plane, and that's good. So what's going to happen is I'm actually going to flick around in front of the moon, and that's kind of cool because it slows me down because the gravitational pull will be pulling me towards the moon's surface rather than if you go behind the moon you'll accelerate as you flick behind it and follow its orbit. So that's okay. I probably should have stopped earlier though and checked my thing. Oh no, I've lost all my electrical energy. So what we can do is we can actually just turn the rockets on slightly, very, very slowly, and we're actually gaining a tiny bit of charge, but we're using it at the same time. So I'm just moving the rocket to the maneuver node, and I'll turn it off and set the warp on. So you can't warp up when the engines are on. Okay, so we're going to have to burn for 7 seconds. And let's get up to the warp. Whoa, there we go. Let's go. Alright, that's cool. I'm happy with that. We've actually still got quite a lot of fuel at this stage. I don't think we're going to need to use that much to circularize. But let's go down and see. So to circularize, we're going to basically slow down when we hit that point there. That'll give us a nice circular-ish orbit. So that's another 9-second burn. We've got that fuel, no worries. Heaps of electric charge again. This time Okay. Now we can do some crew reports. Cool. And we do video report. Hey. Yes, please. Okay. Alright, so let's walk to kind of close to that skip point. Maneuver node. Get a nice look on this video as we get close to the moon. Here we go. Slow down. Point us back to the maneuver node. I'll turn off SES, that's what's consuming all our power. Up and down actually. The rocket's so small, so you know. Okay, so let's speed up. So basically, as we come closer and closer to the moon, you can see that we're already in position to be burning retrograde, so opposite to the direction of our orbit, when we reach the periapsis, so the closest point to the moon. So the camera's just flipped around there because we've got close enough to be considered in orbit of the moon now. Still got 4 minutes to go, so we'll just so I'll change back to the global view. There we are. Of the moon. So we've already made it to the moon, which is kind of a nice place to be in. So we should sectorize here with no worries. And then we can work out where we're going to land. Which frankly, without MacJab, is a bit of pot luck, but the moon's pretty easy to find something to land on as you get close to it. Okay, so 9-second burn, so we need 4.5 seconds either side. And here we go. Go. Okay, what I'm actually going to do, because we're spitting out of our orbit a little bit, and now I've got to turn the batteries back on. We'll stop that burn there. We don't actually need a circular orbit to land. So let's use this Kevin. So we want to be kind of land as close as we can to the equator so that taking off is easy. So let's do that about here. So basically you just burn retrograde until you hit the planet. You can see that, well, we'll try and get as close as we can to a vertical approach. More fuel will fish and just come in on a bit of an angle, but we've got plenty of fuel, so let's do that. That's pretty close to the equator. Alrighty, so let's
Okay, so this is basically me aligning the node and fiddling around with the batteries because we've got to save battery power all the time on this mission because you don't have any batteries.
Okay, good. SAS is on, so that'll keep us on the node pretty tightly. And once we start burning, I'll transmit this science. Okay, off we go. Okay, so transmitted. How are we doing? That's pretty good. Okay, so basically we're now falling towards the surface of the moon at a rate of 43 meters per second. You can see our orbit there is increasing because we're falling, and we're accelerating because there's no atmosphere to stop us. So let's remove that maneuver node. Now I find it's actually easier to do these sort of maneuvers just using the nav ball. So the theory is that if you point completely retrograde and burn, it will slow your descent. So the rule of thumb when you're descending towards the moon is that your speed should be your height subtracted 2 zeros. So at the moment we're 60,000 meters, so it's 600 decimeters, I guess. So that's 600 meters per second you want to be. So we're traveling really, really slowly.
So now I'm basically falling towards the moon until my height matches my speed based according to that formula.
So now what we can actually do is we'll put the batteries back on and we'll start to burn. Just need to slow ourselves down a tiny bit now. So basically what you do now is you just cruise your way in. We're going to have to drop this main rocket at some stage. So it's kind of a tricky balancing act of falling fast enough to actually get down eventually, but also not falling so fast that you just plow into the surface of the planet. So at low thrust rates you actually get a lot of engine time out of your fuel tanks. So this will actually burn us for a while. I think we'll probably just dispose of it right before we land. A little bit too fast, so we should be going 130 at the moment. There we go. Just keep increasing that. Probably about that rate. As you get closer to the surface of the Earth, surface of the Moon, you'll actually be accelerating faster and faster. Okay, rocket's gone. Real good. So gears on. Okay, my gears are sick. So you can see in the background. I need to slow down the wheel. So you need to resist the temptation to just travel really slowly towards the moon because you'll never actually reach it. It'll take you forever if you're trying to brake too fast. So I find this rule of thumb is pretty good. Once you actually can see the surface of the Earth, you can gauge how fast you're going. Because obviously the height that you're getting in the GUI is height above sea level. Given that there's no actual sea level on the moon, it's all earth or ground, we could be 1800 meters above sea level here. So it's I'll let it burn a little bit fast there, and we're flying too slowly now. I'm just going let that go for a bit. So you can see that I'm always pointing retrograde, and what that's doing is it's stopping me from drifting across the surface of the Earth. The reference marker on the navball has now moved to surface mode, you can see, rather than orbit mode. So it refers to the actual surface of the Earth, of the Moon. So it means that if I have it pointing directly upwards, we're falling directly towards the surface of the Moon, which is a good thing. Just check the angles. Actually getting pretty close here. Yes, we are. And now let's just go down to about that speed. We're actually getting pretty close. Yes, there's the surface. Falling at a reasonable rate. So you want to hit the surface as slow as possible, but your legs will withstand a fair bit. Okay. That anticlimactic time is actually us hitting the surface of the Moon. So we've made it, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what I generally tend to do is time warp until the sun rises. So I have paused my battery so it'll stay as it is. So let's warp until the sun rises. That's pretty. So when you're on the surface of the body of land, you can warp as quickly as you want. You can actually see the heavens moving above us, which is kind of cool. So we're actually just at the start of night. There's going to be a little bit of time before we get around to the sun again. So let's speed that up. Okay, there we go. Alright. So there's the sun coming up over the horizon. Isn't that pretty? I take so many screenshots in KSP of just beautiful things. So let's watch the sunrise. The surface of the Moon. So we landed pretty freaking close to that rock right there. But the rocks don't actually matter. Your ship will just go straight through them. But they look pretty. Come on, sun. We'll be able to see what's going on. Okay, that looks good enough. So, we've landed on a relatively flat portion of the Moon. Let's hop out and go for a walk. Alrighty. Yeah, jeopardize on the surface of the Moon. Run around. Don't shift, you run really fast. Sun flag. So, take an aviary report and a surface sample. Keep that stuff because that's good science. You can transmit the aviary report once you get back in the ship. So you turn his lights on by pressing L, his rockets on by pressing R, and boost off. So this is what I was saying before, we don't need a ladder to get up because on the Moon you can boost to your capsule. Climb up a little bit and in we hop. Okay, so basically that's it. We've got to the Moon. Let's save and let's go back home again. So you can see that we've only used a tiny amount of fuel in our lander, so it's actually going to be our return stage as well. So let's boost into orbit and then we can work out how to do our transfer. So I want to do a prograde orbit. Okay, the little pause there was just me checking the calculator to make sure that I've got my directions right. So basically I want to take off and do a prograde orbit, which means flying due east again. And then we go burn retrograde when we're opposite, when we're in between the moon and Kerbin. So I think we're pretty good. We've got all our science points. We can do a crew report from the surface of the moon, which we'll keep. And turn the batteries back on. Okay, off we go. So you can see that the vehicle is very manoeuvrable, so we'll just put say and basically because there's so little gravity you can fling right up to horizontal and just push the hell out of it basically. Let's check our orbit. So I want to achieve an orbit somewhere around 30,000 is fine, just so we're clear of all the peaks. The peaks on the moon go up to about 7,000 meters, I think is the highest one. But 30,000 is a nice number. Here are all the peaks now, so I can head due east. Basically, it's going to push my orbit around to almost circular. Huh. Circularize. So I can actually transmit one of those crew reports now. I'm taking it on in another aspect somewhere. Whew.
Okay, so it's at this point that I shouldn't have transmitted that little report because it drained the rest of my battery, and I didn't realise at the time that the 909 engines don't actually recharge your battery. They're one of the few engines that don't. And I had forgotten that when I was doing this mission, because I haven't used them in ages on rockets. So basically what we'll do is I'll let myself rabbit on about how to prepare for the return burn, because that's vaguely interesting. But after that, then I'll walk back. I'll basically skip through rapidly to the point where I realised that I'd stuffed up and reloaded from save, which was back on the surface of the moon, so you can re-see the ascent.
Okay, so reactivate batteries. Just a really short burn, so basically accelerate up and then slow down. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so there's Kerbin, so basically we want to move along there directly opposite. In theory, we can slow down, and what happens is slow down that, speed up. So while this may seem counterintuitive, what's happening is that basically, I'll take that back a little bit. So if I just accelerated to that point, I would be flinging away from the moon in behind it, so basically on the opposite side of Kerbin. As we go further and further away, we actually drop out of its orbit. And from that point there, I'm now in orbit around Kerbin again. And if I keep accelerating, it's actually very efficiently dropping me in to a periapsis point. So we could do it more efficiently, but I think we've got heaps of fuel, so we'll just burn straight for the gold. So any orbit under 20,000 will get us to land on Kerbin on that orbit of Kerbin. Basically captured by the atmosphere. So let's do 19,000. Sounds good to me. Alright, so the burn is in.
Okay, so basically this is me skipping through, working out that I've run out of battery and that I have to reload.
Okay, so let's try this again. Off we go. See how quick we can do it this time, huh? So I think the moral of this story is not to get frustrated when things don't go your way. You can't help bugs in the game. But every time you have to repeat a maneuver, you learn. That's off. I'm all on. What we're going to do is try and avoid letting the battery go all the way down this time. Just so that I know I've got plenty of battery left to maneuver when we need to. Okay. Lock onto the node SAS on. And burn. And slow down. Burn. Return burn. Left side of the moon. Whoa, a little bit too far then. Nice. So we'll just make sure that we pause this time. Pause our battery. And then it's always better to point at the maneuver node first. So we'll do that one. There we go. There's the battery again. And time up. Nice view of the moon as it looks past. There's Kevin. We're going home, boys. Jebediah. He's all by himself in his little capsule. Alright. So, battery's back on. SAS is on. We're pointing at the node marker. Orbital view. And 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. There we are, coming in. Nice. So 16,000, that'll get us back. No worries. So, once more, I'll pause. Electric charge. And let's walk back home. So, bye-bye to the moon. And what reports have we got? We've got a crew report. We've got 2 stored reports. Maybe a set sample. Right, that's heaps of science for one mission. So let's just walk it back home. Slingshot around, and in we come. Okay, so let's, as we get closer, flick to ready. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so we're 135,000. 135 kilometers above surface of Kerman. Power is back on. We have control of the shuttle. We would like to burn prograde, please, just to slow us down. We don't need to, but because we're going to land. Oh look, there's the crater on the surface of Kerbin caused by a meteor. So it looks like we're going to land over land, which would be nice. But let's just slow down the shuttle a bit. Very much just basically just the time. Whoa. So I'm not really sure what's going on. There's clearly a bug where the charge is not recharging with the engines in the 909. Or maybe it doesn't actually. The 909 maybe doesn't give me a lot of charge. That's an interesting update. That must have happened in a recent update of KSP. So good to know that 909 engines don't give you electric charge. Alright, so we've almost finished burning off all our fuel. Yeah, so we'll jettison basically a floating capsule now. So this landing will be pretty similar to the previous orbital mission. Natural aerodynamics of the capsule, I think, will point you back in the right direction. So, flying down rapidly. Okay. I'm going to follow the parachute and the last one. Actually quite high. I'll make sure I remember to check it all out from the ground and double check something. There's more signs. Not worth much on Kevin, but every little bit helps. That's where we went. Moving up in the sky. And we can watch as the parachutes. Hopefully we'll release pretty soon. There we go. So the parachute's set by default to release at 500 meters. You can actually tweak the altitude and the pressure that they'll apply out. Oh look, we're on a forest plane. Isn't that nice? So let's just walk towards the ground.
So we're going to be on your back bumper, good name.
That's alright. We're on the ground. We can move back to cabin. And Jebediah is completely stoked, you can see that. Very, very happy man. So, plant flag to accept the sample. And we'll turn the air report as well. No, we don't get anything. Recover Highlands, that's just one. Alright, so we can recover Jeb by himself. Yeah, 2.3 science with him. And we can recover the actual shuttle, which should give us a fair bit of science. It's got all those reports to learn. Alrighty, 229 science. Okay, so that's basically to the moon and back in 2 missions and 3 science nodes. So I hope this helped some of you guys, inspired you to give KSP a bit more of a go, because I love this game. It's so much fun. I've put so many hours into it, and I look forward to playing it as it evolves and get a proper career mode where you can actually spend money and stuff. Alright, I'll catch you around.